Liverpool icon confirms Anfield return in emotional statement. I just have to. As Liverpool prepare to be handed the Premier League trophy, one former Red has vowed to return to Anfield to see the title lift celebrations, ex-Liverpool defender. Daniel Agger has announced his plans to return to Anfield to witness his former club lift the Premier League title. The Reds secured top spot in grand style with a resounding 5-1 victory over Tottenham Hotspur last month. They host Crystal Palace, who are celebrating their own triumph, having beaten Manchester City to win the FA Cup this weekend, where the Liverpool players will be presented with the Premier League trophy at the end of the game. Agger has announced that he will be making an emotional return to Anfield because he simply felt like he couldn't miss the opportunity to see his old club be officially crowned champions. Speaking to Tips Bloodet, Agger said, "I just have to go over and feel the atmosphere, be in the stadium and see them lift the trophy." During his more than 8 years at the club, which began when he transferred from Brondby in January 2006, Agger made 232 appearances and netted 14 times for Liverpool. He hung up his boots in 2016 after a career that also saw him captain his country as a player, but he remains a beloved figure among the club's fans. Reflecting on his transfer and his time on Merseyside, the former Denmark international said, "It went pretty fast. I also had several other clubs interested. I actually tried to keep my focus on Brondby, where things were going really well. I didn't think much about it at first, but when it got closer and I suddenly had to talk to the coach, Rafael Benitez, I could tell it felt right. They had just been to the Champions League final and won it. And then I had a good conversation with Benitez, and he expressed that he wanted to invest in me. That's a very good start." Agger is now the assistant manager of Denmark, where he works under Brian Riemer. He is not the only iconic former Liverpool figure that may be at Anfield this weekend. At the start of April, Slot's predecessor Jurgen Klopp said he will return to Liverpool to see the celebrations. He said, "I will be there for the last game. I didn't want to go earlier, to be honest, because I didn't want to jinx it. They win all the time and I'm the first time in the stadium and they lose. So I'll go there when it's decided." Exclusive. Arsenal active behind the scenes to sign 60-minute Premier League forward. Arsenal have discussed the possibility of attempting to win the race to sign Bryan Mbeumo after underlying performance data has resulted in the Brentford star being firmly on the radar of recruitment chiefs at the Emirates Stadium ahead of the transfer window reopening for business, Give Me Sport sources have revealed. Despite being eager to tie Thomas Partey down to a new contract, which would end the chances of the central midfielder leaving the North Londoners as a free agent in the coming weeks, Gunners boss Mikel Arteta remains determined to secure reinforcements after a season in which his side missed out on lifting silverware. Andrea Berta will lead negotiations for potential arrivals, having been appointed as Arsenal's sporting director after he was identified as the outstanding candidate when the hierarchy went in search of Edu's successor, and the Italian could head across the capital to hold discussions over a deal for Mbeumo. Arsenal have an active interest in signing Mbeumo this summer, according to GMS sources, with his decision-making around the penalty area and his composure when firing goalwards earmarked as attractive traits when they have been seeking adequate cover for fan favourite Bukayo Saka. The Cameroon international is preparing to enter the final 12 months of a contract, which allows him to pocket $45,000 per week, resulting in the Gunners sniffing an ideal opportunity to test Brentford's resolve, but it is still clear that he will not be available for a cut-price fee ahead of next season. GMS sources have been informed that Mbeumo will head into the transfer window with a $60 million price tag, with his current employers demanding a lucrative fee due to there being widespread interest after finding the back of the net 19 times in all competitions this term, and Arsenal have had him on their radar for a prolonged period. The 25-year-old wide forward has been described as outstanding by Alan Shearer, the Premier League's record goalscorer of all time, and the Gunners are desperate to ensure that they have improved alternative options to Saka after his long-term injury earlier in the campaign hampered their chances of winning the title. Arsenal are particularly attracted to Mbeumo due to promising underlying performance data and his versatility, GMS sources have learned, as he is capable of being deployed through the middle if required, despite his most effective position being on the right-hand side of the attack. GMS sources have been told that Arsenal are in serious danger of being dragged into a tug-of-war for Mbeumo's signature if they choose to up the ante in their pursuit as domestic counterparts. Manchester United, Newcastle United and Nottingham Forest are among additional admirers tempted to offer a route out of Brentford. The Gunners are not planning to attempt to negotiate a deal which would see Raheem Sterling become a permanent member of their squad, meaning they will be left with fewer wide options when he returns to Chelsea at the end of his loan spell, and Arteta is eager to rectify that during the summer transfer window. Although Arsenal have shifted their focus towards left-sided attackers and centre-forwards, GMS sources understand that Mbeumo has been spoken about as a potential recruit behind the scenes, as he is entering his prime and has shown steady improvement since first arriving in the Premier League. GMS sources recently revealed that the Gunners are willing to hand Victor Gyökeres a £240,000 per week contract after the Sporting marksman has been earmarked as their preferred striker target, but they are also looking for additional creativity and firepower from the flanks as preparations are made for next term.